Prateek, there is a lot of excitement right now in the small cap, mid cap space as well. And as it happens, whenever there is a particular theme that runs in the market, retail investors tend to jump in and feel that, okay, this is a momentum, I can, go with it without realizing probably the risks associated. What is your view on the mid cap and small cap universe? Are there good stories there that you are betting on? Do you see it continuing, the strong growth in that space?
This space is large, okay, and the disclaimer is that one needs to be very careful addressing this space. However, if I talk about this space, something that comes to the mind is from November onwards in my write-ups, in my videos, I've been saying this is time for alpha. Now, it is time for alpha because alpha versus the larger cap index or even something like a BSE 500 kind of an index. It is because newer spaces are popping up and they are sustaining growth while they are still not there in the index, for example, in any meaningful manner. So spaces like, we discussed China plus one. There is no name in the index, which is a huge beneficiary of China plus one. All of the names lie, when I say index, in an index like Nifty, all of those names lie outside of it.
Hmm.
So chemical companies, garmenting companies, EMS companies are all outside of it.
Hmm.
And well, the growth story may have been a tad older for chemicals, starting for garmenting. In EMS, we may have had two companies, now more are coming in. So for many of these, it's a beginning of a very long journey, hopefully. And hence the chance for alpha by deviating from the index. Similarly, in many other spaces, when you say engineering, there may be one or two engineering companies in the index, and that too more focused on coal-based capex, that corporates may be doing. Most of the other names have tended to be smaller. They are outside of the index, and now with so much focus on Make in India, the whole space is seeing tailwinds. Hospitals simply not there in the index. One name, very small in the index. Very long runway of growth, and so on. So now all of these spaces, most of the names, if not all of the names, are in the mid cap space. So my whole sense is mid caps is where the themes are best represented, but the idea should be to be with leadership businesses in the space rather than with businesses which have failed to become large cap in spite of being around for 1 or 2 decades.
Hmm.
There maybe it is a problem of opportunities, fire in the belly kind of stuff. Lastly, I think the period from 12 to 20 was a very different period where reforms that we were getting were difficult. We had to endure COVID kind of a difficulty, which was more favorable to large cap in terms of market access, in terms of being able to withstand it. And in this period, you saw mids getting decimated. Import duty protection was low. What businesses could do in the country was, it was a shrinking space. Post COVID, from the bottom of COVID, frankly, we are seeing a trend of, moving away from China, for example, which is benefiting every country and India in extending protection to domestic markets, sourcing more from domestic. And it is manifested in margins as well. Margins have improved, spread of earnings have improved. So 12 to 20 mid-cap earnings simply did not increase. Very flat. Even 21, the first year of COVID, actually declined. But after that, they are ticking up. They have been very buoyant, and even for last quarter, as buoyant as the large cap index. So those tailwinds are definitely there. Now, one caution is while large cap index is just about where it was at the last peaks, last two peaks have been similar. So this is the third one. Mid cap index is now higher, substantially higher than the past peak. In that sense, it is now looking a tad more expensive. Like I made the case for the larger cap index, one should be ready for a period of consolidation. But there is a lot happening in this space. If one is with the leaders of this space, I think in this space, buy on corrections should continue to be a great strategy.